Former Governor of Imo State, Ihedioha, has accused Governor Hope Uzodinma of character defamation in the case of separatist Kanu. In a release by his media advisor, Ihedioha accused Uzodinma of being responsible for a letter in circulation purported to have been written by him, that's Ihedioha, to the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, advising him not to honor the appeal court judgment that discharged and acquitted leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, that's Kanu, so as not to imperil the 2023 elections. Ihedioha said that since his ouster by the country's apex court, he had decided to keep quiet for obvious reasons. However, he said that he decided not to keep silent again in the face of what he calls defamation of character. Ihedioha noted that it is laughable that he will be writing to the Honorable Attorney General of the Federation asking him to continue to illegally hold on to Kanu even after a court of impediment competent jurisdiction has discharged him. Imo State Commissioner for Information, that's Declan Emelumba, joins us now to speak on the situation between the two titans in the state, on the release of Kanu and the allegation to keep him longer in custody. Good to have you on Newsday.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Now, of course, Ihedioha has dismissed this, and there's usually no smoke without fire. I'm just wondering if there were any gestures on his part that made people assume that he made any calls to Malami to actually, keep Kanu in detention.
Thank you very much. But first, let me correct my name. My name is Declan, not Declan. Declan Emelumba, NNC, Declan Emelumba.
So, duly noted.
Yes,
thank you.
Thank you. Well, the statement you just referred to, I don't know why you didn't read the full statement. I read it. There are some other things, maybe we'll come back to it. But however, when it talks about defamation of character, I want to say, with every respect to the former governor and former deputy speaker, that I doubt if he has any character left to be defamed. Because, I don't know when people talk about character. This was a man who never won an election in the first place in the Imo State, and he hung on to it with just 3 local governments, breaching the constitution, knowing the constitutional requirement for a governor to be declared, which he didn't meet, and he still accepted. And if somebody who has honor and character would have said, no, I don't think that this is right. So you can't talk about defamation of character. Having said that, I want to say that it's very funny, very, very laughable to imagine that the governor of Imo State, distinguished Senator Hope Uzodinma, all he will do is to sit down and start forging a letter in the name of Right Honorable making it. It doesn't make sense. Why should he do that? He should explain the source of the letter. Let him stop looking for people to blame. The governor can never do that. He can never stoop that low. There is absolutely no reason why he should do that, and I can assure you that it's just a very spurious allegation, and it's baseless and has no foundation whatsoever. It never happened, and it will never happen. This is my governor that I know very well, can never stoop that low to do that. Yes.
In his letter titled "When Silence Is Not Golden," the member of the House of Reps, alluded to the idea that there is an ongoing power tussle because he feels that he wields more power in Imo State, and this has caused animosity between himself and Hope Uzodinma's government. What is actually going on? Because the emergence of these of the letter, the emergence of the voice note, it shows that although they may not have come from the governor, they came from somewhere. So it shows that there's animosity in the state. What is really going on?
Well, the question of animosity, I don't know about animosity, but what I know is that it's unfortunate. You know what they call sore losers. If you went into an election and you didn't win that election, and then the election was challenged by several people, not just us, and we went to the process of that challenge at the tribunal. And I want to state this clear so that you understand what is going on, like you asked. At that tribunal, His Excellency and APC were able to produce 388 results from 388 polling units that were omitted by INEC. Before we did that, First of all, because after the election was announced, and they claimed that we came forth, it wasn't possible. We knew that that was just an impossibility. So we went into to find out what happened really, and found out in the process that the results from 388 polling units where Governor Hope Uzodimma and APC won were omitted. The first step was to write to INEC. His lawyer wrote to INEC, say, please, can you furnish us with the details of the polling units where results were cancelled? And INEC furnished us with that list. And none of those 388 polling units was affected. The next step was, say, okay, we have these results from 388 polling units. Can you certify that they're true and original copies as to what you have? They certified it before we went to court. At the tribunal, we tendered those results. And the tribunal looked at it, and these same people talking, PDP and even INEC, said, no, they were fake results. And the tribunal said, produce the original results, as simple as that. They couldn't produce the original results. The reason was because they knew that those original results, if they produce it, they would tally with the one that we have tendered. And so the tribunal said, okay, in the absence of that, there's another legally authorized custodian of election results from polling unit, and that was the police. So they subpoenaed the police deputy commissioner who had the custody of those results. And he came to tender them in court as exhibit. When he came, his people, precisely Ushoya Gosha, who later became SSG, and Chris Okeolun, who later became chief of staff, arranged for another policeman to arrest the man coming to tender these results, claiming that they were fake. Unfortunately for them, when he got there, the man who was arresting saw that he was a senior in rank, so he couldn't. To cut the long story short, these results were eventually accepted and tendered as exhibit when there was nothing to contradict it. And so, at the end of the day, the tribunal, from all indications, they were satisfied that we won.
Well, he's saying it's supplanted. In his letter, he said that it was a supplanted Supreme Court ruling and a stolen mandate.
No, that's what I'm trying to tell you. There couldn't have been anything like that. Because, first of all, look at the history. The tribunal decided to give the judgment in Abuja at that initial stage of the tribunal level. Why did they decide to give the judgment in Abuja? Because, of course, they knew that the incumbent lost. Otherwise, there was no reason to move it to Owerri. Now, at the judgment at the tribunal level, the same tribunal that accepted those results and marked and accepted as exhibit, in giving their judgment, now claimed that the policeman who brought those results was an interloper, that he didn't have authority of IG to come. Meanwhile, this was a man in subpoena to come. So he cannot be an interloper. You know, and then, of course, everybody knew that something happened, something went wrong. That was why when the thing got to the appeal court, it was at the appeal court that there was a split judgment. The split judgment, one said, this man called Hope Uzodimma won this election clean and square. And that you cannot talk of somebody who you subpoena to be an interloper because you know what to do. You can't subpoena somebody and he will fail. It doesn't need the authority to come in. Authority of the court is enough. Therefore, something happened that you don't want to tell us. And based on that, and since there was no contradiction of those 388 results from the 388 polling units, it means the results are correct. And they used it to declare him. And when the two judgments from appeal court got to the Supreme Court now looked at the two and saw the one that had merit of law. And that was why they declared distinguished Senator Hope Uzodimma winner. And if anybody is telling me that you can compromise the integrity of 7 Supreme Court judges in this country, then that person must have no faith in Nigeria, because it was a unanimous judgment. So if you refuse to accept this reality, and up till now, you are still sulking on it, still making claims that your mandate was taken, something must be wrong with you. And therefore, that's why I say you don't even have character, because this thing is so straightforward. And I think that any right-thinking person will know that when you look at this process, and it has gotten to that point, and you get the point where you must be a gentleman and say, well, we have fought. Meanwhile, when he won at the tribunal and he won at the appeal court by majority judgment, you were celebrating on the streets. But when he lost at the Supreme Court, the judiciary became felons, and they were protesting on the streets and all that. So how do you place that? So I think that is the basic issue, and I think it's very important that we understand it.
Right.
Well, the other matters we would like to unpack. I'd just like to know what Imo State stands when it comes to this issue of Nnamdi Kanu's not necessarily being acquitted, but just released. since Ihedioha said he had nothing to do with making any call to Malami in any way, shape, or form. We've seen what sit-at-home has done to the economy over time. So what's the stance of Imo State regarding this, where things are right now?
Well, the position of Imo State, you just saw the brief history that I traced to you. This government is a product of the rule of law. Because if there's no rule of law and there's no credible judiciary, we wouldn't have reclaimed our stolen mandate. And therefore, the government believes in the rule of law. So the process of that rule of law, particularly as it concerns the judiciary, we can't question it. So it's whatever the court has said, that's where we stand. So if the court has discharged Nnamdi Kanu, we stand with the court. And that's our position. But again, because you are talking about this, I thought also you would have mentioned this, because in the same letter where Right Honorable Ihedioha has said silence is golden. First of all, he has not been keeping silent for some time now. 2 or 3 weeks ago, he was in channels and made all manner of unprintable allegations. So somebody who 2-3 weeks was in channels cannot be talking about silence being golden, that he has been keeping quiet. It's not true. He has been talking. But I thought that he would have mentioned about the audio phone call that was leaked, which he also mentioned in the letter, which he claimed that it was the governor also that cloned his voice. Which is absolutely not correct. So, and I want to therefore use the opportunity to challenge him. I want to challenge Right Honorable Ihedioha to come out and be a gentleman and admit that he made that call. And I can tell you that he made the call on a Friday, 14th of October, between the hours of 9:30 p.m. and 10:05 p.m. Okay. And the person he made the call with is somebody who is on interior decoration from Ezinihitembise, his area. So he knows that he made the call. And if he does not come out as a gentleman and admit that he made the call and apologize for really exacerbating the insecurity situation in Imo State, we'll be forced to publish the facts and the details.
Well, while we're on the topic of fact-checking, there's been a number of accusations that have been made by CUPP, that's the Coalition of United Political Parties, concerning the voting process. That's they have accused of there being interference with the voters' register, and also of a secret court action that's supposed to be underway that will block the use of BVAs in the upcoming election as well. What is the position of your administration concerning that? Because Governor Hope Uzodimma is key in these allegations, especially with regards to the manipulation of the voters' register.
Well, even though I'm not a lawyer, but they say in law that if you allege, you have to prove. They are the people who are alleging. And as far as we are concerned, these are mere allegations. There's no evidence apart from a figment of the imagination. But there's something in politics. When you are going into an election, and you know that you are going to lose that election, you know that you don't have the credibility to win that election, you begin to prepare the ground so that when you lose, you say, we told you they were planning to. That's just what Goshen is doing. It has no electoral value, either in Imo or in his constituency. And the PDP is using him to cause conflict. Does it not surprise you that when you say APC, you investigated all the states where APC is controlling, and then that they are engaged in inflation of voter register? The one that the example you are giving is only Omuma, just a word.
Specifically, governor's local government area.
Exactly. And why governor's local government area? What are their place? What are their example? And you said with your mouth that you carried out an investigation into alleged voter inflation by APC states. And after of all that, all you can give as evidence is Omuma, the governor. And every time Omuma magic, Omuma magic, Omuma magic. So
he was waving some papers.
Is it not clear that there's something more to it than being honest and being sincere?
We're waiting for the official proceedings, but there was a number of irregularities listed. For example, images of women where there were names of men, images of old people where there were young people's date of births and so forth. Is there any attempt by the Imo State government to support an inquisition into these irregularities, just in case they may have happened somehow behind the scenes without your awareness?
Well, the only authority that I know that has the authority both legally and constitutionally to talk about voter registration is INEC. And so INEC has not come out to say that there are these irregularities in Omoma. They have not said that. So I don't know in what capacity Ugo Shingen is saying. He can claim anything, he can say anything. I thought that if he's sincere, there is a process for the INEC voter registration exercise. After these voters have been registered, they publish the names for people to complain, if you have complaints, so that they can now look into them and make amends. He didn't wait for that process. And if he had waited for that process, he would have been citing the example of the published list of INEC, and then it will have the certified authority of INEC, and this is the list. And in this list, that this and this has been done. Meanwhile, INEC said, if there are irregularities, they will delete them. So what is your worry, really? If you are satisfied that if you are not more interested in playing to the gallery, if you are really concerned about credible voters list and the credible elections, what I would do if I were him is to take time, go through the thing, and then complain to INEC and give INEC my observations. It is after that, and in the final they still publish those irregularities. I will not shout foul that something is wrong. You have not done any of that. You have not even told us how you got the list. You have not shown any sincerity of purpose that you are interested in a credible voter registration exercise. All you are interested in is running down the name of the governor every day, because they know that this governor will beat them hands down in the election. It's just as simple as that. They are preparing grounds, because if you come to Imo State, you will see that Imo people are very happy with the government. Just about 2 or 3 weeks ago, the president came and commissioned a wonderful road that he built, which defied all administration, Olo road and the Olo Okigwe road. And the president commended him. When the governor said we are doing road revolution, president said, no, you are doing what I call infrastructure revolution, and that you are writing your history. The president was happy, all those who came. So they know all this. Has it occurred to you, have you asked yourself, why are they not picking on this governor on issues? Say, on performance. Say, you are not doing this, you are doing this. It's either they talk about his wristwatch or they talk about voter registration. That will show you that they know that they have lost it. And so all they are trying to do is to prepare their minds, not the minds of Imo people, because Imo people know where they stand, and they stand with the governor, and they will support him anytime, any day. So they want to prepare their minds so that when they lose, which they will, they begin to say, no, we told you about Omoma magic. That's what has happened. But it won't work. So that is the truth of the matter.
All right. So while we're talking about elections, now, what are your thoughts on the APC candidate, the presidential candidate, that is, Bola Ahmed Tinubu? What are your thoughts on his prospects for the coming election? This is in light with the view, of course, of Peter Obi's growing popularity, especially in that area that's seen as a Peter Obi stronghold. And do you think Governor Hope Uzodimma will deliver the state?
Well, I want to tell you that politics is not rocket science. It's about experience, it's about what you do on the ground to convince people to vote for you. We are APC, and proudly so. My governor is APC, and I'm proudly following him that line. We have a presidential candidate. He has a responsibility. He is the coordinator of the APC in the Southeast. He has a responsibility to campaign for his party. We go to the field. You know, in our place, they say the music has not started. Somebody is dancing, trying to break his leg. We go to the field. Everybody will present what you will use to convince the people why they should vote for party A or party B. When we have done that, then the judgment is for the people. And once we have done everything we should do in terms of presenting our candidate to the people, and why...
So the infrastructural revolution is not enough?
Yes, infrastructure is more than enough, because they, apart from that, they also know that the second Niger bridge, which has been like something that politicians were using to taunt the Southeasterners, it's almost a reality now. They also know that many of the roads in the Southeast have been dualized, and so these are APC dividends of democracy that you can touch. So we present this scorecard and allow the people to judge between the time PDP was there and now, what they do, and 8 years that APC has been in federal government, what have they done? When we present this, it's not a sentimental thing. The people will judge, and when they judge, then we respect their verdict, whatever is their verdict.
And what verdict do you expect as we round up? Sorry. What verdict do you expect as we round up?
Of course, I expect that the verdict will be in our favor because we are convinced we have done well. But before you round up, there's something I would like to say about this matter that you seem to not want to really discuss about the
I am so sorry. It's been a lovely interview, but I must thank you at this point, Mr. Declan Emelumba, Commissioner for Imo State. Thank you, Commissioner of Information for Imo State. Thank you so much for your time on News Day.
I hope you invite me another time because I didn't really exhaust anything else. Thank you.
Thank you so much.